apparently someone up there wants me to be a shaman, and my poems are becoming more and more like spells, all good spells. Nobody will get hurt. Everyone will get home safely tonight. But so this first one is called Shinings of the Drum. And as Mark mentioned, I've lived in a few different places. When I was 19, I dropped out of college and moved to Haiti in 1979. And if you can do the math, so that means I'm 32. But it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I lived there for 3 years, an American kid from San Francisco. I was 100% naive in 1,000 different ways, but it ended up being a wonderful experience, observing Haitian culture, the voodoo, the music, the surrealism, very surreal. The whole culture is very surreal. There's no such thing as inanimate objects in Haiti. Everything has a life. This podium has a voice, like everything has a voice. So this poem is drawing from some of those experiences and kind of throughout the African diaspora. It's called Shinings of the Drum. When the moon becomes the sun, when the moon becomes the sun, I am the high-feathered reclaimer of Ouida via the port of Savannah and the waters of Bahia, of Cap Haïtien and of Bayou Saint-Jean. When the moon becomes the sun, I am the high-feathered scribe of Guédé, making mambo with our clothes off, shaking our graves and taking note when the moon becomes the sun. Well between the thighs of death and life, I am the listener and I am the voice. I am the high-feathered seeds of jazz fleeing from our trials. When the moon becomes the sun, beyond the fog of our implied assimilation, I am the whispers of Dunbar Creek. I am the high-feathered horns of the Black Star Liner. When the moon becomes the sun, I am the drum of imminent reclamations. I am the call of the unknown maroon. I am the high-feathered calypso of a marching black mob. Yeah. When the moon becomes the sun, I am the ascension of ancient melodies. I am the chimes of hurricane blessings. I am the listening of our dreams. When the moon becomes the sun, I am the victory of 16 cowrie shells. I am the Benin Palace of Madame Erzulie. I am the shining of a well-seen voice. When the moon becomes the sun, I am the votive envoy of La Place Guinée. I am the call of the unknown maroon. I am the call of the unknown maroon. I am the high-feathered calypso of Ogun Batala. When the moon becomes the sun, I am the shining, I am the shining, I am the shining, I am the shining, I am the listening of Dunbar Creek. Okay. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you. And just to give you a little background on this, Dunbar Creek, it's worth Googling it. It's an interesting real-life story. Dunbar Creek is off of Georgia and in the Sea Island area. And sometime late into slavery in this country, there was a ship, a slave ship, that pulled into Dunbar Creek, which is a creek that spills out into the ocean, to the Atlantic, and pulled into the creek, and the people who were about to be enslaved, realizing what was about to become of them, they volunteered to jump off the boat and leap to their deaths. And there are kind of the popular story that's told from this, that's been told down through generations, is that the about to be enslaved people flew back to Africa. And when I was growing up and would hear the gospel song, I'll Fly Away, I always thought of this story. The other version of the story is they just drowned to death. But I like to believe they flew back to Africa. So that's the reference of I Am the Listening of Dunbar Creek. And, sorry, so much history. The reference to the unknown maroon, in Haiti, and they managed to beat Napoleon, beat the French, and establish their independence in 1804, just a few years after this country. And apparently their revolution was led by an unknown maroon, and the maroons were people who had escaped plantations up into the mountains. And in Haiti, the mountains go up to just over 9,000 feet. So pretty huge mountains. And they go straight up from the water. And there were maroon populations up there, I guess, for at least a century, like for decades and decades. And there was what's known as the unknown maroon, who blew a sound on a conch shell, and that led the revolution. So always listen out for that, for the next unknown maroon.